Halo is a series dear to so many people's hearts. We aren't just talking about a fondly remembered game from the early noughties here, we are talking about a genre-defining classic. For millions of people across the globe, the original Halo will be remembered as their gateway into multiplayer gaming and a game that created genuine core childhood memories. Hell, even created friendships that will still be going strong to this day, 25 years later. So with that being said, 25 years is a long time, to be fair. I'm sure many of you have played the original to death. I bet there's even people watching this video who could probably walk me through each story mission and multiplayer map as if it was the street they grew up on. And to top that off, I think at this point this is the third re-release of the original game. So why would an Xbox fan feel the need to play Halo Campaign Evolved? PlayStation players, I'll be with you in just a sec. Well, for starters, it's day one on Game Pass, so for a huge chunk of you all for the price of your subscription, you're going to be able to download and play on release day, which is the 28th of July. So it's pretty much as risk-free as you're going to be able to get these days when a new game comes out. But I do think it's also important to emphasize that this is a full-blown Unreal Engine 5 remake, whereas previous iterations and releases were only ever remasters and ports. So visually, honestly, this game looks stunning. For a lot of you die-hard Halo fans, this alone is going to make it worth your time. Being able to experience one of the greatest shooters ever with modern and updated 4K graphics and systems in crispy 60 FPS. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. So the remake's also going to include a lot more content than the original game. Now this includes 3 brand new, never before seen campaign prequel missions revolving around Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson. So from what I've read online, these prequel missions and for the rest of the campaign will also include new enemy types and variants. So these will be enemies who've previously only ever appeared in the later games. So for example, Brutes from Halo 2 will now be in the game, as well as the White and Gold Hunters from Halo 3 ODST. And I think it's safe to assume there'll be even more than that as well. And as well as this, we are going to be getting 9 new weapons that weren't usable in the 2001 Halo release. So these aren't 9 brand new, never before seen weapons just to temper everyone's expectations, but they are instead weapons from later Halo sequels. So these will include the Battle Rifle, Energy Sword, Needle Rifle, Fuel Rod Cannon, Sentinel Beam, Submachine Gun, Beam Rifle, Brute Plasma Rifle, and the Spiker. Another interesting brand new feature to the game as well, which I actually think makes a lot of sense to include with the expanded player arsenal, is the ability to now add game modifiers. So this means as you collect skulls throughout the campaign, you'll unlock the ability to play around with the game's settings. Now this gives you the freedom to create either more challenging scenarios, or you can even make the game as easy or as mental as you like. Such as massively increasing the amount of damage enemies do, you can make your shields recharge instantly. Do you hate reloading? Well, turn on infinite magazines and never have to reload again. There are honestly tons of creative possibilities for you to try out in game. And to top this off, once you've collected any 2 skulls, and to clarify, I probably should have mentioned this before, skulls are basically just the collectibles you'll find hidden around the map in game. So once you've collected at least 2 of them, you'll unlock Campaign Remix Mode. So the Campaign Remix Mode pretty much does as it says in the tin, basically. It completely randomizes the game, such as changing out enemy types, enemy spawn locations, what weapons you might find in a particular area, just to give you a few examples. And to go full circle here, what I think is so great about this is that when you add the Campaign Remix Mode, all of the game modifiers and new weapons we now have access to, and the ability to play the entire game in third person, yes, that is also a thing, the amount of replayability the game now offers, considering this is just a story mode only experience, is actually really exciting. And I also think it's worth a quick mention, although multiplayer is absent in this release, we do still have the ability to play the entire game in either 2-player split screen or 4-player online co-op that also supports crossplay. So there is going to be loads of crazy fun to be had with you and all your mates. Alright, so my Xbox and PC friends, I believe that is why you should absolutely consider playing Halo Campaign Evolved on day one. It's all I've got. But PlayStation fans, do you want me to tell you why you should? So, as well as everything we've just spoke about, and look, I of course can't speak on behalf of everyone here, so on a more personal level, and speaking as someone who's been with PlayStation since I was young enough to be able to hold a controller, Halo was a complete revelation when it originally released in 2001, and it was the standard setter in its genre for many years after that as well. My admission of guilt right now is I have never played a Halo game, like ever. I am honestly ashamed to even admit that, to be honest. Like many, when I was a kid and I was growing up, I just had one console per generation, which for me was always PlayStation, and that was how I gamed. It was only as I've gotten older and gotten the ability to buy things myself that I've started to become more aware and be tempted by other great console exclusives that previously I just didn't have access to. And Halo has always been so high on that list, as well as Gears of War, which I've now played and completed on the PS5, by the way. Unbelievable experience. I genuinely loved every single second of it, and I cannot recommend it enough. But next for me feels like it has to be Halo, and probably, to be fair, even a more iconic franchise than Gears, really, at least in my mind. And another point, I just love games. I love how there are so many people who also love games. I'm not an expert in business or logistics, and even how the industry works to a T exactly, but I really like the idea of less exclusives, I've got to be honest. As long as there's no drop in quality, of course, like, I really just don't want people missing out on the games that I love, and I'd hate to miss out on any games that so many other people love. Maybe that's a bit too much of a surface level way of looking at things, I'm not too sure. But I think games giving themselves the opportunity to get in the hands of more players can surely not be a bad thing. So, my fellow PlayStation players, I do really encourage you to check this out. I mean, at this point, both Xbox and PlayStation have created some of the industry's most beloved franchises over the years, and fortunately, now we have the opportunity to play some of these great games on our console of choice. But if these games don't perform well on the platform, there is potential we're not going to see this trend continue, unfortunately. And look, like, life is just crazy expensive these days. I do get it. Most people just can't get every new release. That is just not realistic. All I would ever ask is that if you're in the market for a new game, a new experience, I definitely think this at least is worth checking out. And to quickly address the elephant in the room, look, with PlayStation at the minute, I'll be honest, I am really unhappy with their stance on physical games and just the general lack of communication with a fan base who has been so loyal to them over the years. As someone who buys everything physical and values physical, I honestly have huge concerns over how they're essentially trying to create just one place to buy games from. They clearly want to kill the competition off, so eventually you can only buy games from the PlayStation Store and there's just no other options available to us as consumers, so they can dictate the price, the sale price, when they have sales, even if they ever do have sales. Yeah, I just think the whole situation's a joke, to be honest. Maybe I'll cover this in another video, I'm not too sure yet, but I just didn't want to speak PlayStation and just not give at least a brief thought on it. Anyway, so with all that, my friends, what are you thinking? Is everyone excited for the Halo remake? Any concerns or critiques? Or even anything any Halo fans in the comments can let any PlayStation fans know that might help them decide if they should or shouldn't try the game out? Or even any thoughts you have on the whole PlayStation situation? It's just a mess at the minute. But I think what is safe to say is there is plenty to talk about at the minute, loads to discuss, and I can't wait to hear what other people are thinking. So guys, thank you so much for watching. It honestly really is appreciated more than you all know. And if you did really enjoy it, even considering giving the video a little like would be absolutely brilliant. Thanks again, guys. Please make sure to look after yourselves, and I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye.